Paul Wickens is Chief Executive, Enterprise Shared Services, Northern Ireland Civil Service, and he's going to look at what's actually been happening across there. So, Paul Wickens.
Good morning. It's good to be taking part in Scotland's digital strategy, coming over from Northern Ireland, and hopefully share a few stories and steal a few as well. I've got a few tips already this morning from Kay. Let me give you a few statistics to start with. For those of you who don't know, we're a very, very tiny part of a tiny island, although we like to have delusions of grandeur and think we're much more important. But we have some claims to fame. We have 1.8 million population in Northern Ireland. We've got 12 government departments, core government departments. We've got 26 councils, which is about to reduce to 11. And some would say we're slightly over-governed in terms of some of those numbers and statistics. We've got 25,000 civil servants working in those 12 government departments. And we're looking at the challenge of how do we transform the way we deliver government services to our citizens. You know, of course, we've got the G8 going on at the moment. We've got 3 of the top golfers in the world, Rory, J-Mac and Darren, and you can work out who's who on that one as well. But you've got some nice golf courses and some good golfers here as well. So I think we've got some things in common. So what are we doing to try to transform the way we get our citizens to engage with us? I think we like to think we've got a monopoly in terms of ideas and approaches, and even in terms of who owns the citizen or who owns the citizen interaction. And it's good to hear Kate touching on that one as well today a little bit. If you look at some of the key numbers in terms of why we think online is important, you'll see some of these figures here, basically confirming a lot of the things that Kay was saying. More and more people are going online, using different devices to go online, but only 43% of our citizens interact with government online today. So how can we actually encourage a channel shift onto digital channels as we move forwards? One of the things that we were able to do was to, I suppose, persuade our executive. We've got 12 government ministers for the 12 government departments. They have a programme for government with 5 key initiatives in it. The 5th priority is to deliver high quality and efficient public services. And underneath that, there's a very clear measurable objective, which is to improve online access to government services. So we've got ministerial commitment to basically help us to move to where we need to be. And that's actually a very, very helpful place to start. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the UK government digital strategy in terms of some of the key principles. And one of the things that we've done is to recently publish our own citizen contact strategy. And we've called it the Northern Ireland Civil Service Citizen Contact Strategy with the strapline of digital first. And I'll maybe touch a little bit on the difference between digital first and digital by default, because even walking around outside, you can see the use of both of those terms, and it can be a little bit contentious as to which people would prefer. Certainly the UK strategy is to go for digital by default, and I certainly saw some fairly cringe-worthy interviews at ministerial level on BBC at an early stage when people were trying to defend the fact that, of course, everyone's going to use all of these services online all the time, and we're going to force people to do that. And then all of a sudden there was a little bit of backtracking and saying, the point you were making, Kay, not everyone is yet ready, able or willing to embrace the new technology for very, very good reasons. So we've gone for a digital first strategy, recognising that that's the way we want to go. It's the direction of travel. But there's lots of people who are not yet ready, able or willing to do that. So our contact strategy is very much digital first, but we've got a digital inclusion unit who work very, very closely with lots of organisations to support those people. So we've got libraries, we've got digital champions, we've got silver surfers, we've got lots of different things that we're using, if you like, to try to assist people as they move towards using the digital channels. And everyone has to have a nice little bright, shiny slide that shows all the different things that we're doing. So really what we're trying to do here is moving away from the traditional model of face-to-face services and moving towards the online channels. I don't know what it's like here, but certainly in our civil service and across the councils, we're quite attached to the old ways of working. We're actually quite good at doing things a certain way in terms of some of those face-to-face processes and even the paper forms that were used to back up those processes. They've taken years, decades to make work efficiently. So why would I want to give them up in terms of all this bright new shiny stuff that's coming along called digital technology? And that's really one of the big challenges we have, persuading accounting officers, heads of departments, some ministers, councillors, to really understand that there is and could be a better way of doing things. Certainly a number of years ago, we moved towards the New York 311 model. When we first set up NI Direct, which is the branded name of our government website, NI Direct was very much seen as a contact centre moving towards one number, one telephone number that we could encourage citizens to use. And it's amazing just in the space of 3, 4, 5 years that vision has radically changed towards moving towards the digital channel and moving away from the telephone channel. And I think that's going to get even faster as we move forwards. So we do talk about multi-channel contact services. But how do you start to change citizen behaviours? Again, the Consumer Council, Northern Ireland Consumer Council, did a fairly major study. And again, Kay touched on this about people don't know and they don't care about public sector structures or boundaries. So how do we get people to use the services online without worrying about what those things are? Well, I think the answer lies very much in that. By putting things online, you don't need to understand what the structures or boundaries are going to be. What we've done is we've created a strategic partnership with BT and a number of other suppliers, including many SMEs. In fact, are going to bring apps development and smart technology to bear for us. And we're working in that partnership over the next number of years to rapidly build out a lot of new transactional services that we're going to put online. You'll see a number of reusable components listed there, and I'm going to give you some examples of those. So rather than going for big, long lists of transactions and services, we've gone for reusable themes that we can use over and over again, report it, apply for it, book it, etc. And I will give you some examples of those as well. Of course, we do have, because we are government, we've got the considerations of value for money. And yes, the G-Cloud is there, and yes, we're starting to use that, but certainly traditional treasury functions still want to see a very, very soundly structured business case that looks at establishing value for money principles. And sometimes those two things work against each other. So there's a bit of healthy tension, I suppose, there as we work out what the new process is to get VFM alongside rapid accelerated development of new online services. So how do we go about really making sure this is going to happen for us? So 12 ministers, 12 government departments, 12 accounting officers who tend to do their own thing. Now, I know your structure is different here in Scotland in central government, but we still have very much a siloed structure. We do have a head of the civil service, Hawks, and one of the things that we were able to do was to get a mandate established very, very quickly, which basically said, thou shalt. And these are the 3 thou shalts that we're taking forwards through the Hawks mandate that has been established. So we've got our permanent secretaries group, and we've got a subgroup underneath that basically owns this mandate and owns this challenge, and if you like, holds me to account as part of that as we're driving this forward. So digital first, I think that's the first point. It's getting the thing to be digital as opposed to the brand of NI Direct, although that is the next thing on the list as well. I discovered that after a major program of website consolidation in central government, and we only took NI Direct into my organisation about a year ago. When we took that in and we realised there had been a website consolidation program, we still were left with 160 websites at that point. Now again, would that resonate here? Do you have the same kind of issues perhaps? I don't know, but we certainly had that. The other thing is phone number consolidation. We had the idea of moving towards the contact centre supporting the multi-channel strategy, but again, still a myriad of phone numbers out there as well. So we're developing NI Direct as the branded solution. It is the portal that we have. It's very much digital first. Let's get the transactions online and then worry about further consolidation as we go along. So here's some examples of things that we're actively progressing at the moment with these reusable themes. So in my own department, which is Department of Finance, we're doing our rates payment, debt recovery, our General Registry Office, births, deaths, marriage certificates, things like that online, Public Records Office. There's many things that we can do for Pay It. We've introduced a new payment engine. And again, for the technologists among you, you know that the government gateway is shutting down, so you're going to have to find another solution as we move forward. So we've put another solution in place that reduces the cost per transaction of payments down to about 6 to 8 pence. And that's very, very significant saving from where we were before in terms of the numbers of transactions we had. Book It, we're working with our career service in the Department of Employment and Learning to do career service appointment bookings, but we're actually using exactly the same code to do prison service visit appointments, which is quite a strange difference, but it's the same thing. You're booking an appointment, and there's many other reuses of that we're using as well. Our Office of the First and Deputy First Minister, we've got a social investment fund so people can go online and apply for grants for social inclusion fund. We've got our document ordering, and you can see all the other sorts of things that we have there as well in terms of the themes. Someone was saying to me yesterday, perhaps we're missing a theme, and that is share it. And that was really looking at the whole idea of embracing social networking and finding, is there a way of actually sharing this information peer-to-peer? And that's something I'm going to take away and think about based on what someone triggered that thought yesterday. We've got a number of deliverables and projects that we're working on. We've got our citizen contact strategy. That's in the final stages of consultation, about to be fully signed off. Each government department is then obliged to produce an annual business development plan underneath a 5-year strategy so that we can actually measure the number of services and transactions that we're getting and moving towards online. We get about 10 million visits per year on the website, and that's doubled in the last 12 months. And just to give you a few more sort of funny statistics, I suppose. Yep, the question of using, booking your car tax and things online, yes, we've got about 3,000 per week doing that. We had 979 people last week paid a parking ticket. And we'd 663 people who actually went and looked up Keeping Chickens, All You Need to Know. So we do have some very diverse content on the website as well. And that's actually a key point. Getting people to the website over and over again, getting those sticky eyeballs, as they used to be called, to stick to your website means refreshing your content all the time. And certainly we use our executive information team to refresh the content, to own the content, and to ensure that the standards are applied across the piece on that one as well. We've actually developed, it's a private sector concept, but a business development team that we have working in-house, civil servants and our BT partners working with us. And we go along to departmental boards and we help them to envision the kinds of ideas for services that they can put online. And we are still meeting resistance, I have to say. Again, not sure what it's like here, but we certainly do have people who are very precious about some of the things. We tried that once in 1948 and it didn't work, so we're never going to try it again. And we still have one or two of those people around as well. But nevertheless, we're trying to encourage, motivate, envision in the departments to try to understand where we're going. We're also picking up the challenge of, is it central government, is it health, is it local government? And again, with many other websites and channels out there as well, as I said earlier, getting it online and digital is more important than moving towards one branded website, although that is our direction of travel. We've got scoping and feasibility studies that we do. We take it right through to working on benefits and business cases, although we're very clear to say that the organisation themselves own the business case. It's up to them to show value for money and to get business cases signed off. We will provide the resources to help them to do that. So it's very much an innovative way of approaching the way we're working with our departments or organisations to deliver the kind of services that we're moving towards. We've got business consulting teams, we've got technical consulting teams. One of the opportunities we have, I head up our Enterprise Shared Services organisation. We have about 900 staff delivering shared services across governments in Northern Ireland. And we run an in-house IT shared service called IT Assist. And we're actually using IT Assist to host all of the technology behind our NI Direct solution. And that's a big, big differentiator for us because we really can drive down the cost of the way we deliver things. We're procuring at the moment a public sector data centre right across. We've got health as one of the key stakeholders, and central government and some local government organisations working with us to procure a new data centre that will be fit for purpose over the next 10 years or so. We will then build our own private cloud to support some of these things as well. So we're trying to be fairly radical in terms of joining up our citizen-facing interactions, using our shared services, trying to drive down the cost, get efficiencies and increase the effectiveness all the time as well. We're using a content management system that's about to go out of life, and we're looking towards a new open source solution. That's going to be a big challenge for us given the amount of content and developers that we have out there today. So we're trying to do that all in the background and change the plumbing and rewire the whole thing and not let anybody really know what's going on in the meantime. And that's quite a challenge for us as well as doing all of these things. So in terms of where we're going, it's NI Direct. Digital first. We really do believe that's the direction of travel. We've got a good team working with us. I think we've got ideas that we should be sharing on a government-to-government basis, and I'd be delighted to build some relationships to do that as well. And in the meantime, I wish you very well for the rest of the conference. Thank you.